try to Google something about Kava Kava and safety. You will usually get results like this, and this, or this. So, is Kava Kava a dangerous liver toxin, or just a misunderstood plant with centuries or millennia of safe use? What are its benefits, if there are any? And yeah, that's the topic of today's video. We are going a bit deep into this. In today's world, so much of what we call productivity or creativity is really just chasing quick neurochemical hits. Caffeine, THC, stimulants, social media, pornography, overtraining in the gym, constant business. It feels like flow, but it's often just a short-term dopamine spike. And that's why I appreciate smart substances that don't just blast your system, but support calm focus, natural creativity, and, let's say, presence without the crash or endless craving for more and more and more. And yeah, that's why I gravitated to kava, a plant used for centuries across the Pacific with a very different profile. So, what is kava or kava kava? Kava or Piper methysticum is a pepper plant native to the South Pacific. The part that's traditionally used isn't the leaves or the stems, but the root. Pacific Island cultures have prepared this root for thousands of years as a social and ceremonial drink. But what makes kava special is its chemistry. Unlike caffeine in coffee or nicotine in tobacco, which are each basically one single dominant agent, kava's effects come from a whole family of compounds called kava lactones. And this is a bit like cannabis, where there isn't just one active player, but the synergy of cannabinoids and terpenes and whatever, somehow shaping the overall effect. In kava, the 6 major kavalactones occur in different ratios depending on the cultivar, and these are kavain, dihydrokavain, yangonin, desmethoxyangonin, methysticine, and dihydromethysticine. Remember it. Those ratios are what give each variety of kava its unique feel, from lighter and more uplifting to heavier and more sedating. Traditional growers even classify kavas by the chemotype. Lateral roots tends to be richer in caffeine and related uplifting compounds, while basal or crown roots often have more of the heavier kavalactones, such as methysticine and dihydromethysticine. Remember it. The mix of lateral versus basal material used in preparation can therefore tilt the drink's character towards brighter daytime kava or a deeper, more relaxing nighttime one. So now we know something about the chemistry, but let's talk about the research and what does the research actually say about kava's benefits. And remember, this is not a medical advice. If you have a health condition or take medication, talk to a qualified professional, not to me. Multiple clinical studies and meta-analyses have found that the standardized kava extracts can reduce symptoms of mild to moderate anxiety. Whoa! Not a surprise. I have to address that kava is not some kind of drug like benzodiazepines that puts you in the state of non-reacting, and instead it creates some kind of psychological or emotional safe space from which you are able to watch or relive some difficult experience while being unbiased and integrate the experience. So therefore, I guess it is a perfect tool for people who need to integrate not just some kind of traumatic experience, but also for people who want to integrate heavy spiritual or psychedelic experience without losing their mind or, getting dragged somewhere by their aggressive thoughts or whatever. But hey, I got a bit carried away. Now back to science. Kava Kava cannot be considered an adaptogen because adaptogens are substances whose effects cannot be felt immediately, which cannot be said about Kava, but it's pretty weird. I guess it cannot be said definitely about anything. But nevertheless, Kava fulfills several key properties of adaptogens precisely because it can also reduce stress in the long term. Mechanistically, cavalactones interact with the GABA-A receptor system, producing a calm but non-sedating state. What is most important? Cavalactones do not bind to GABA. That means they are not GABA agonists like muscimol in Amanita muscaria or benzodiazepines. Instead, they bind elsewhere on the receptor or in the membrane, which enhances the receptor response to GABA. So, in human speech, that means when GABA is bound, the channel opens more easily or stays open longer. The evidence does show that cavalactones increase the efficacy of GABA. That means bigger or longer chloride currents for the same amount of GABA while cavalactone is present, which can feel like prolonged effect, but that's due to the receptor modulation, not slower unbinding of GABA itself. So conclusion is, cavalactones make the receptor respond more strongly to GABA, and that's beautiful. Second, some cavalactones show mild cyclooxygenase COX inhibition in vitro. What does it mean? What is COX or COX? This hints at a subtle anti-inflammatory potential, not like NSAIDs such as ibuprofen or paracetamol, but it may contribute to Kava's somehow muscle relaxing and tension relieving or reducing feel. And third, improved sleep. Several controlled trials show that Kava can shorten sleep latency and increase sleep quality, especially in people whose insomnia is linked to stress or anxiety. And it's not a knocked out sedative, that is very important. It's more of a gentle facilitator of natural sleep. And finally, muscle relaxation without heavy sedation. Many users describe their muscles loosening or tension melting away, while mental clarity remains. And this combination is very great. I found Kava to be very helpful with practices that require enhanced body awareness, such as yoga, physiotherapy, pendiculation, etc., whatever. Again, these are findings from published studies, but you can surely experience Kava effects by yourself. Kava really gets you high in a way, and the state of mind induced by Kava is very interesting. It is a kind of conscious flow in which you feel somehow comfortable. Of course, it varies from cultivar to cultivar. Some cultivars are more introspective, some more social and euphoric. Some people compare the state to alcohol intoxication, which is why Dave Asprey, for example, recommends it as a hangover-free alternative to alcohol. But regardless of the toxicity of alcohol, however, people react to alcohol completely differently than to Kava. When you drink a large amount of Kava, you don't fall to the ground or become primitive, but only more relaxed or more focused. But, everyone sees something different in it, and it's up to us where we let it lead us. As you know, I'm personally a big fan of lucid dreaming, and I have found that Kava greatly enhances this effect. Many users report, for example, more vivid and memorable dreams, but importantly, it does not interfere with sleep quality in any way, which I personally cannot say about Blue Lotus, for example. If you Google Kava Kava, one of the first things you'll see is headlines about bans in Germany, Canada, and other countries in the early 2000s. Yes, there were case reports of liver injury, But when you dig into the details, you know what was going on. Most of those cases involved products that were not traditional kava, capsules or tinctures made from non-root parts like stems and leaves, which are not surprisingly inherently toxic, or extracted with organic solvents such as acetone or ethanol rather than water. Some involved people with pre-existing liver condition or concurrent use of other hepatotoxic drugs. So, what is going on? Honestly, it's just a big pharma lobby, similar to what happened to L-tryptophan in the 90s. To put it very briefly, what happened? A single manufacturer in Japan called Showa Denko made a bad contaminated batch, sold it, and dozens of people got sick and died of eosinophilia myalgia syndrome, EMS. Well, people were taking tryptophan for sleep, and the company selling sleeping pills said, aha, and they cherry-picked this terrible incident as a potential evidence that, yeah, tryptophan is bad. No, tryptophan is not bad, and no, kava is not bad as well. Bad batches are bad, and Big Pharma and its lobby is bad, to put it simply. By contrast, traditional noble brews of kava root used for centuries in the Pacific Islands have an excellent safety record. Large population studies show no spike in liver disease where kava is consumed daily in its native form, and people use this plant for millennia. Come on. And the conclusion is, yeah, so the issue was never simply kava is toxic. It was about what plant parts were used, how they were extracted, and sadly, who was consuming them. And that distinction is crucial when we talk about kava's safety today. If you have a good noble source that is lab tested and only roots were used, nothing to be scared about. I will explain what noble means in the later part of the video. If you also want to read something more about this, you can read WHO 2007 Kava Safety Report, which I provide below in the description. Let's talk about cultivars, because kava isn't just one plant. Across the Pacific in Vanuatu, Fiji, Hawaii, and beyond, there are thousands of distinct varieties of this plant, and the traditional ceremonial types are called noble kava. These are long, selected cultivars with balanced cavalactone profiles, giving a smoother and, uh, more gentle experience and faster clearance. In other words, they produce calm, clear state of mind that wears off predictably without any heavy hangover. And this is the kava with the best safety record used for centuries or millennia in villages and ceremonies. In contrast, there's tudei kava, sometimes translated as two-day kava, like 1 day, 2 day. It's dumb, but whatever. This is non-noble kava, usually wild or less domesticated stock. It tends to be heavier, longer lasting, more sedating, and it's often associated with next day grogginess, nausea, or other unpleasant side effects. It's cheaper to grow and export, which is why it sometimes ends up in low-cost products or supplements for tourists. Pacific governments know this difference matters. Fiji and Vanuatu, for example, have regulations that formally distinguish noble from non-noble kava and restrict exports to non-noble cultivars for safety and quality reasons. But if you are buying kava outside the Pacific, looking for the word noble and also looking for a reputable source is the best way to ensure you are getting the traditional time-tested plant. So that's it. Kava can be prepared traditionally by kneading the root in water with a coconut shell, or more modernly using blender bags, or it can be used as an instant micronized powder that you just mix with water. It is also available in the form of tinctures. Traditional preparation gives somehow authentic experience and taste, but modern methods offer, let's say, and be honest, convenience. But as always, be extremely mindful with the quality. So, kava isn't just a drink. It's a centuries or millennia-old tradition that shows us a different way to approach relaxation, social connection, focus, whatever. And unlike modern stimulants or some quick fix highs, it works with your body gently, supporting calm, clarity, and natural creativity. And its safety and effects depend on respecting the plant, using noble root varieties, proper preparation, and quality sources. That's it. So, if you are curious about kava, remember it's not about chasing a high or masking stress. It's about slowing down, connecting with the plant's intelligence, and letting it guide you towards spaciousness and presence in a way modern life rarely allows. And that's all for today's video. If you want more evidence-based plant deep dives, you can follow me. This is just the beginning, or maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, that's it, and have a nice day. Goodbye.